Hey, what's going on, guys? And welcome to this very special live edition of the main event talk happening right here as it happens on Facebook. And, had a chance to look at Monday Night Raw and everything else like that before I begin to speak about my thoughts on tonight's Raw. This episode of Monday Night Raw is brought to you by Sierra Mist. And it's not often I get a chance to, do something stupid like that. But I thought, you know what? Why not? I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Oh, very good. I needed that. To switch it with the beer. But anyways, to get this thing going, before I go ahead and talk about what happened tonight on WWE Raw, I know most people have been a little bit wondering about if I got it or not. Now, if you guys had an opportunity to look into my Facebook and my Twitter and my Instagram, you know it's here now. Number 5 has finally arrived. Number 5 being my latest Mustang that has just arrived and everything else like that. And it's a 2004 convertible Mustang, kind of like a bright orange red and everything else like that. It is an extremely cool car. I had an opportunity to get it right here on this episode of the Main Event. I want to personally thank my longtime best friend, Homestar Runner, aka Hector Juarez, aka Homestar Runner. He is the lead singer for. Hey Amber, what's going on? He is the lead singer for a band known as Of Serpents and Saviors. If you guys had an opportunity to check them out live this past Saturday night over at Theo's Billiards, it was one hell of a show, and I was glad to be there for the show and everything else like that. Not just to support my friends of Serpents and Saviors, I've also wanted to support my good friends Shattered Sun, who, as we speak, are probably over in Austin, Texas right now doing the tour and everything else like that. And of course, they're going to be touring with El Nino very, very soon. So the Main Event cannot wait for that and everything else like that. Hi. Hello, Amber. What's going on there and everything else like that. So once again, I want to say thank you very, very much, Homestar Runner, for Hector, for allowing the Main Event to go to Alice, get his hands on his Mustang, bring it in, and the Main Event did the favor in return by showing up over there at the show and everything else like that. Thank you, thank Jeremy and everything else like that. The best drummer on the planet, John Luna. Gabriel Gonzalez was also there. Matt Gongora, who was over there as well. The Rob Arnold of Serpents and Saviors, if anyone has figured that out and everything else like that. It was a great show. Shattered Sun did a tremendous thing. And I also told Shattered Sun, I told Marcos, I told a few of the other members of the band, that during the entire show, the last 2 songs that they did over at Theo's, much like I'm doing this right now, you know how I've been posting my Main Event Talks live as they happen on Facebook? Well, I went ahead and I did a favor for him, just for the sake of the fact that I got to be the Main Event and I got to pull this off and show it off to everyone. When I went ahead, the last 2 songs they did at Theo's, I went ahead and I posted live as it happens on Facebook. While they were playing on stage at Theo's Billiards, the Main Event went ahead and decided, you know what, screw it. We've got to pull this off. I got to make it live. I've got to show Shattered Sun, not just to all of my friends over in Corpus Christi, but to everyone all across the world, because they got to know who Shattered Sun is. Hell, Alice knows who Shattered Sun is. Corpus Christi knows who Shattered Sun is. Everyone in Texas, from San Antonio to Austin to Dallas, Texas to Houston, Texas, knows who Shattered Sun is. But it's not just us other bands I want to put out as well. I got to put out Of Serpents and Saviors as well, which is why hopefully soon, if the Main Event goes one more time, Of Serpents and Saviors, to all the members, Hector, Luna, everybody else, when the Main Event has an opportunity, there's a good chance that I will put you guys live as it happens on Facebook and everything else like that. So be prepared for that. Okay? Now that we've Amber, now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's talk about tonight's WWE Raw. Let's talk about what we saw. Possibly not as good as last Monday night, but it'll have to do. because as you guys know, last Monday night was a shocking return of Shane McMahon, and it blew the roof off of everything. And ever since then, Shane McMahon becomes a part of WWE once again after a 7-year absence, and all of a sudden he starts getting his own Facebook page. He starts getting his own Twitter page, which, by the way, you can follow Shane McMahon on Twitter on twitter.com/Shane McMahon. If you find that, it's right there. You can also find him on Facebook as well. And Shane McMahon has pretty much been all over the place. And if you've seen any of his videos on Twitter, he's been doing some intense training. And wow, I mean, you know, Shane McMahon, he may look old, but he's still in great shape. He's still the same guy. He is my favorite McMahon among them all. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Vince McMahon will forever be the chairman of the board and everything else like that. But my favorite McMahon has always been Shane McMahon for the obvious reasons. Because he's the son, and the fact that he's pretty much like one of the boys. He is also an individual that I've always felt that if he ever run the show, he would make the biggest difference in WWE. He would become the biggest difference. But the last time Shane McMahon made his appearance on Monday Night Raw was back in 2009, and that was the last time we ever heard anything from him. And the things I've been hearing about Shane, you know, having his own business and, you know, going all the way to Japan or China or something like that, that was the last thing we ever heard of him. And then all of a sudden, he reappears before the WWE Universe last Monday night on Raw and everything else like that. And then everyone had an opportunity, and it's been surfaced all over Facebook and everything else like that. I don't know if it's appeared on YouTube or not, but you know the part where Shane McMahon and Vince McMahon are having a little confrontation in the front, right? You know how they're having a little talk? Well, there was this one part that was edited out on Raw that could not be said. However, maybe WWE may have edited out the part that Vince McMahon said to his son, but the WWE Universe and everyone else that has an iPhone or a camera phone or video of any kind could videotape it and show it off to the world when Vince McMahon pulled an F-bomb on the entire world. I think, to kind of remember it, I think the last words he said to Shane McMahon, Vince McMahon, he called him a fucking pisshead or something like that. I think that's what he said. But I know he said fuck, straight up. And I know all you guys heard that too. So, now tonight's Raw, which, let's be honest, Raw was not exactly that good. The only thing that was good about it was the whole confrontation between Triple H and Dean Ambrose at the beginning of the show. That was probably the best part ever, right there at this point. Shane McMahon didn't make his appearance, which wasn't a big surprise, because how you set up WrestleMania, I mean, you got 6 weeks, we're down to 5 weeks right now, 34 days away from WrestleMania 32 taking place over in Arlington, Texas. Main Event cannot wait for that. The way they're setting it up, first Shane McMahon makes his appearance 1 week ago, and then this week the Undertaker makes his appearance, and then next week who comes up? Oh, Shane McMahon. What a shocker. Duh, you know, and everything else like that. The part that was really ridiculous out of everything was that whole thing with Stephanie McMahon. And I don't think anybody gave a damn about what Stephanie said and everything else like that, although you got to admit the promo she put out was pretty good. It was pretty much real, and you know, I'm someone that can actually see what the difference between what's real and what's fake. And even though to other people wrestling is fake, yeah, wrestling's fake, yeah, everything in the ring, yeah, it's all fake. No one really gets hurt. No one goes to the hospital. No one bleeds half to fucking death and everything else. Like, yeah, wrestling's fake. Give me a fucking break, you morons. But I have the videos of if F-bomb. Oh, well, you have it. Amber has it right there. You know what I'm talking about. But anyways, that whole thing with Stephanie McMahon, you know, her saying what she had to say and everything else like that, and then, you know, her accepting the award, which let's be honest, that award to me was a good idea if it was presented to the right person. Stephanie McMahon was not the right person. It doesn't matter if your name is McMahon, especially when Shane McMahon goes ahead and decides to call you out and tell you that you fucked up and tell you that you messed up and tell you the fact that you and your husband decided to fuck this company up the ass into the fucking ground, which he told the truth about. The list of injuries, the ratings dropping, and the fact that the stock is dropping and everything else like that. We all know, we pretty much all know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. To the WWE and to everyone else, you know, the McMahons and everything else like that, they think we're stupid, right? That we don't know what's going to happen at WrestleMania. The fact that after WrestleMania, things are going to change and things have to change. We know it, you know it, everybody else knows it. But the thing is, WrestleMania could change. Could change. And I'm not talking the title. No. Leave the title alone. WrestleMania is perfect the way it is. But I'm talking about the fact that no one has said anything about Shane McMahon wrestling The Undertaker just yet. Now, even though it has already been advertised for Shane McMahon to take on The Undertaker at WrestleMania, Hell in the Cell and everything else like that, everyone is starting to go off the chain here by talking about the fact that there is a particular individual who may show up at WrestleMania and may be the man to take on The Undertaker at WrestleMania. And who? Well, I'll give you guys a hint, and I'll give you guys a detail about it. The fact that, yes, Seth Rollins. I miss Seth Rollins too, I promise you that. The thing is, there's one person who has been mentioned on Facebook and on Twitter and everything else like that, and I've been looking through his Twitter as well to see if he responds to this or anything else like that. Now, Shane McMahon versus The Undertaker at Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania seems good, right? But what if Shane McMahon, you know, doesn't have a match with The Undertaker? Just think about this real hard. Just think about what happened last week with Shane McMahon. Think real hard. Shane McMahon pretty much shook Vince McMahon's hand and agreed to everything. But he didn't exactly agree to the part of him wrestling The Undertaker. Now, I could be wrong here, but yes, Shane McMahon has said it's not the first time he made a deal with the devil. It's not the first time. But Shane McMahon does have a way of getting out of certain situations and putting somebody else involved. So, Shane McMahon versus Undertaker sounds good. I dig it. But what if we have somebody else involved at Hell in the Cell? What happens if it's not going to be The Undertaker against Shane McMahon? What if it's somebody else? Maybe somebody who has his own undefeated streak at WrestleMania. Someone that has been in only one WrestleMania appearance. And this man has a huge undefeated streak of his own. And it took place in WCW. Is everybody getting the hint yet? I think you do. Because the main event this past Friday went over to this place called Half Price Books, right? I went ahead and I bought me this DVD, right? And, you know, I always like to buy certain DVDs that they have over there that I love to get my hands on. The most recent ones I had were the Story of Edge. I think the other one was Shawn Michaels DVD. Of course, I found WrestleMania 22 over there, and every other DVD possible. But the one DVD that I found that was there, I got it, I checked it out, and I still got a lot more to go in that DVD. And I'm talking about Bill Goldberg. Yeah, I said it right here on the show. Bill Goldberg. Now, what if, let's just put the scenario out, all right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. But think for a moment. The Undertaker has faced off against many great opponents at WrestleMania. Many like Superfly Jimmy Snuka, Jake the Snake Roberts, the Giant Gonzalez, King Kong Bundy, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, his brother Kane, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, CM Punk, and the whole 9 yards. The only person that has been able to defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania has been Brock Lesnar. Okay? So, what if Goldberg were to take on The Undertaker at WrestleMania? I mean, think about it, because we don't know if Shane has actually agreed to the matchup. Yes, he shook Vince McMahon's hand and agreed to the terms, but did not agree to actually be in WrestleMania. Think about it. I may have to look into that video one more time, just to see if I got my facts straight and everything else like that. If he did agree to, if he said he will face The Undertaker, then yeah, he'll face The Undertaker. But if he didn't say it, if he pretty much said, I agree to the match, but I'm not going to be a part of it, then yeah, that pretty much it's pretty much a setup. Because think about what's at stake here. The fact that Shane McMahon wants to own Monday Night Raw. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to own Raw. He wants to make it a whole lot better. He wants to increase the ratings on the show. He wants to increase the stock on it. And he wants to make sure that the numerous injuries are not as huge. Okay? And to me, personally, Shane McMahon running Raw, taking care of business, it's all cool. Main Event digs it. I know you guys dig it too. So, like I said, we'll never know. We'll never know what will happen. But right now, as of this point, at WrestleMania, it's going to be Shane McMahon going one-on-one against The Undertaker at Hell in the Cell at WrestleMania 32. And if Shane McMahon wins, he gets control of Monday Night Raw. And did you hear the whole comments that Vince McMahon was saying? Yeah, that whole thing with him calling him a son of a bitch, which, hey, he says that he's the boss. He can say whatever the fuck he wants. And then The Undertaker goes ahead and comes out, which, I was kind of hoping for The Undertaker to actually show up when Stephanie McMahon was in the ring. I was kind of hoping for that. But I was also hoping for, Vince McMahon, or The Undertaker, I'm sorry, to come out and pretty much do what he did. But it wasn't really much of an Undertaker entry. We really wanted to see more of The Undertaker, of what he thinks and what he says and everything else like that. But it was what? Only like maybe a few minutes, right? The Undertaker had him by the throat and tell him the blood of your son is in your hands, not mine. And that was it. And then he just walked out. That was it. It was okay, but it was like, you could have done something, that'll entice us. Like chokeslam Vince McMahon right through the damn ring. And we'd be like, yeah! That's how it goes. I'm drinking on my fucking show. Can't help it. Let's also talk about the possibility of the phenomenal team, if you will, of Y2J and AJ Styles defeating the New Day. Next week, they get an opportunity at the tag team titles. To me personally, I dig this whole thing with AJ Styles and Y2J being a team. But I still say, and I think a lot of other people still say, that AJ Styles should go after the Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens. But if he has to go after, the tag team titles, then let it happen. Give AJ Styles an opportunity to win some gold. Put it around his waist. Have him win all the titles. To me, have AJ Styles win the Intercontinental Championship, win the United States Championship, win the tag team titles. I would say win the Divas title, but let's not go too far, okay? Let's not go too far. And then have him win the most prestigious championship of them all, and have him win it maybe at next year's WrestleMania. Maybe. I'm not saying he will, but in the meantime, AJ Styles, Y2J, against a New Day next week. But personally, I would rather have that match happen at WrestleMania 32. We'll see what happens. We'll see what the future holds for Y2AJ. And I mentioned the Divas match. First of all, I am so glad that I saw Sasha Banks and saw Becky Lynch. It was a tremendous matchup. Up and down. It was great and everything else like that. But the ending was like, it wasn't stupid, but it was exactly what needed to happen. Because let's be honest, you heard that crowd, and I know you guys were probably saying it too. You wanted it to be a triple threat match. You wanted it to happen at WrestleMania. You want Charlotte to defend the Divas Championship against Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks. That's got to happen. You can agree upon that. I can agree upon that. And the thing is, they're going to have their rematch this coming Thursday on SmackDown, or in this case, this Tuesday on SmackDown, because as we all know, and we're not stupid, SmackDown happens on Tuesday. We see it live. It's pre-recorded. Then it shows up on Thursday. We watch it again. We know what happens, people. And to the WWE universe and to the WWE, we're not stupid, okay? We know how things go, okay? Quit fucking us. But anyways, I still see WrestleMania as the Divas Championship being defended. Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks. That's going to happen one way or another. I see it happening. Now, bye. Bye, Amber. And Homestar Runner decides to join in. Yes, Homestar, you missed half of this show. Half of it. And by the way, from the looks of it, I've only got, oh crap, 10 minutes. 10 minutes left of this fucking show. What was I going to talk? I already talked about AJ Styles. I already talked about the whole thing with Becky Lynch. Oh, and did you see that whole thing with Brie Bella and Lana? Here's the thing. You know what? And let's call it like we see it. Brie Bella, and sooner or later it's going to happen. I don't know why it should happen, but I think it's going to happen anyway. WrestleMania is going to have Brie Bella against Lana, and let's put the scenario together if you don't mind. And this is just off the top of my head. It could happen at WrestleMania. Let's see. On one side you got Brie Bella, on the other side you got Lana, right? And in one corner you got Daniel Bryan, and the other corner you got the Bear, Rusev. Do you see that happening at WrestleMania? Maybe, maybe not. But we'll see what happens. But, you know, is it just me, or is Lana not even that attractive anymore? And this is why I'm saying it. I'm still, you know, Lana is still hot. Lana's still hot, but she's just not that appealing anymore. You know, last year at WrestleMania, she was that appealing. She was that hot. And I'm going to say this because I can, and unlike any other show, this is not PG. This is whatever the fuck rated I want it to be. And basically what I'm going to tell you is Lana is hot as fuck, and everyone would want to bang her, including me. You know that, and I know that as well. Now, Lana nowadays, she's married. She's with Rusev. And the only thing that comes to my mind at this point in time is, oh, it's Lana. Nah, no big deal. Oh, check it out, it's Brie Bella. Hey, what's going on there? What are you doing that much? No, oh, Sasha Banks. That ass, bitch, I swear. And then, and the bottom line is, Lana is still a hot and sexy individual. What does Fermano has no chill? Yes, I have no chill. I don't know what that means, but I have no chill. But anyways, the thing is, Lana, to me, is, you know, I mean, she's still hot, but she's not really that appealing to me anymore. And I don't think she's that appealing to anybody else. I'm still reading these comments, and me, hashtag Team Lana, Homestar, never mind. I'm reading these fucking comments and everything else. I'm trying to get every single word in as much as I can. But anyways, Lana, you know, she's still attractive, but, you know, to me, there's got to be something that's going to make me think, you know, okay, you know, okay, we'll bang one more time and then that's it, okay? I'm done with you. But I'm sorry for saying that, but I'm being honest with my audience. I'm not going to sit here and go through some ridiculous script and say, you know, this is what I got to say, this is what I got to say, this is what I got to say. No, this is what I'm going to say, okay? Read the fine print. You know what the fine print is? Somewhere between fine and print. That's where it is, okay? Look into that. Now, let's see, what else can we talk about? We've talked about Lana and Brie Bella. We talked about the whole Divas division. And, oh, we failed to talk about the conclusion, about what happened with Dean Ambrose and Triple H. So Triple H goes ahead, and, well, Dean Ambrose comes out and does his whole challenge deal on Triple H and everything else like that. And Dean Ambrose pretty much challenges Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, which I knew somehow wasn't going to happen tonight. And I somehow also knew that Dean Ambrose was going to get set up, which he did. So he gets a matchup against Alberto Del Rio, and then there's the rest of the League of Nations and everything else like that. Then Triple H comes out, doing what he does. He's the King of Kings. He tells everybody to go ahead, sick Dean Ambrose, and they all beat his ass, break him down, and then that's it. And then Triple H, he pretty much was not going to accept his match, right? Because Dean Ambrose did challenge him for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, and then he would give him till the end of the night to decide. And Dean Ambrose pretty much made that decision for him when he pretty much punched him, kicked him right in the face and everything else like that. And then, of course, Triple H hits him with the pedigree. It's done. And then Triple H accepts his match for next week. So next week on Monday Night Raw, we're going to have Dean Ambrose going one-on-one against Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. And let me give you an imaginary scenario. Now, we all know none of us want to see Triple H against Roman Reigns for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, because even though Triple H bloodied and destroyed Roman Reigns, it's still not interesting yet. You gotta make it interesting. And here's how you make it interesting. You put Triple H. You make him lose the championship to Dean Ambrose. Yeah, you do that before WrestleMania. You know? And here's what you also do. You make WrestleMania more interesting now. Instead of having Triple H against Roman Reigns, how about Triple H against Roman Reigns, against Dean Ambrose, and against Brock Lesnar? Fatal 4-way. But why not make WrestleMania more interesting? Make Triple H, make Roman Reigns, make Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, those four in there. And then you decide to add the most electrifying man in all of entertainment. The People's Champion, The Rock. Think about it. The Rock doesn't have an opponent yet, does he? So you add The Rock, you add Brock Lesnar, you add Dean Ambrose, you add Roman Reigns, you add Triple H in a fatal 5-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Come on, there's never been a fatal 5-way for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship before WrestleMania, right? Never, ever has happened. And it needs to happen at WrestleMania. If you're going to make WrestleMania interesting, do that. And by the looks of my clock, I've only got a few minutes left. So let's see if you guys agree upon it. Do you guys, and I'm going to put the question out, not just on Twitter, but I'm also going to put the question out on Facebook as well with this. Do you guys still want to see Triple H defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Or do you agree with my scenario? Make Triple H defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship against Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Brock Lesnar, and The Rock. And make it a fatal 5-way match for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. That seems a whole lot better, right? I mean, look at the whole entire scenario. Look how the structure is being built. The bottom line is, who do you want to see WWE champion at WrestleMania? Personally, to me, obviously, it would be a downer if Roman Reigns won it. It would be a big downer. But I think it would be electrifying if The Rock were to become WWE champion at WrestleMania. Or, why not Dean Ambrose? Why not give the title to Dean? Why not give it to him at WrestleMania? Or maybe you can give it to Triple H. Because after Shane McMahon wins the match against The Undertaker, you got to have some power left over, right? Well, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this up right now because I'm looking at that clock right now. I only have about almost a minute left before my Facebook cuts me off. So that's going to do it for this edition of this episode, this live episode of the Main Event Talk. I'm going to post this video. It's on Facebook, but it's also going to be displayed on YouTube as well for the world to see. So don't forget to check out all of my videos on YouTube as it happens. And also you can check out all of my videos to all of my friends that have seen this Facebook page. you can go to my Facebook and check out all the videos of not only this episode of the Main Event Talk, but other episodes of particular things that I've, put together and everything else like that. So don't forget to check out Monday Night Raw next Monday night. The Undertaker was here last week. This week we're going to have Shane McMahon. Also, WWE SmackDown coming Thursday night. Of course, Lucha Underground happening this coming Wednesday. Impact Wrestling happening on Tuesday and everything else like that. So, well, like I said, I ain't got enough time. So, guys, thank you for watching this very special edition of the Main Event Talk as it's happening live on Facebook. And I'll see you guys next time. Why? Because I can and I want to. Any questions? Enough said. Thank you very much.